My name is Fang Yuan. I'm 18 years old and a college freshman. You might find this hard to believe, but I have a childhood sweetheart. We grew up together, lived right across the hall, and our families were as close as one. Her name is Bai Ning. Pretty name, good-looking girl too. Big eyes, high nose bridge, and two shallow dimples when she smiles, the kind of person who stands out in a crowd right away. But I've never thought she was good-looking. Not that I genuinely don't think so. I'm just too used to it. From kindergarten all the way to high school, we were always in the same schools and classes. My mom and her mom are best friends, living just across the hallway from each other. When I scraped my knee as a kid, she put a Band-Aid on me. When I ran a fever, she took me to the hospital. We walked to school together, walked home together, did homework together, and often even ate at the same table. I don't know what other people's childhood sweetheart dynamic is like, but Ningbing and I were thorough and complete bros. Yeah, bros. She called me Fang Yuan, and I called her Ningbing. Occasionally, when she pissed me off, I'd call her by her full name, Bai Ningbing. When I pissed her off, she'd hit me with her school bag, then go buy bubble tea by herself and ignore me. Our conversations usually went like, Fang Yuan, lend me your homework to copy. No, I'll tell your mom you secretly played video games yesterday. Here, take it. Just like that. I always thought she felt the same way, until that day, when everything changed. It was the third week of the first semester of freshman year, shortly after military training ended. I got into a university in the city, and Ningbing did too, the exact same one again. My mom even specially remarked, "You two really have a fated connection." Auntie Bai smiled from ear to ear, saying this was the best scenario, because with Ningbing keeping an eye on Fang Yuan, she could rest easy. Ningbing rolled her eyes at the time and said, "Auntie, I am not keeping an eye on him. What is there to watch?" And I said, "Exactly. I have hands and feet. I don't need Bai Ningbing watching me." Then we glared at each other in mutual disgust and turned our heads away. My mom and Auntie Bai exchanged a glance with a kind of smile I didn't understand back then. Anyway, Ningbing and I continued being good bros. The turning point happened on a Friday evening. There were no classes that afternoon, and I was reading alone in the library while the sunset slanted through the window, dyeing the entire reading room a warm gold. I was flipping through a major course reference book when a shadow suddenly fell beside me. "Fang Yuan," a very nice voice called out, carrying a hint of timidity. I looked up and froze. Standing in front of me was Lin Ji. Lin Ji was the department beauty of our cohort, very pretty with a gentle temperament, speaking softly and smiling like a spring breeze. During self-introductions on the first day of school, all the boys' eyes lit up, and the counselor joked that Lin Ji single-handedly elevated the looks of the entire theater department. She really was gorgeous, not the heavy makeup kind of pretty, but clean with a gentle, graceful vibe. Her hair was very long, draped softly over her shoulders, and her eyes were bright. When she smiled, her whole person seemed to glow. To be honest, I did take a couple of extra glances at her on the first day of school, but that was it. Everyone takes extra glances at good-looking girls, right? Isn't that normal? "Classmate Lin Ji," I put down my book. "Is there something you need?" Her cheeks flushed slightly, hands behind her back as if hiding something. I have something I want to tell you." She took a deep breath, then pulled out what she was hiding behind her, a letter. A pink envelope with small little love hearts drawn on it, and a hand-drawn cartoon sticker attached. My brain blanked out for a second. "No way! Fang Yuan, I like you." Her voice wasn't loud, but in the quiet library, every single word was crystal clear. "Ever since you helped me move my luggage on the first day of school, I've noticed you. You're very gentle and reliable. I want to be with you." After finishing, she pushed the letter forward towards me, looking at me with bright, sparkling eyes, like a little cat waiting to be fed. I was completely stunned at the time. Growing up, it wasn't like girls had never confessed to me, but those were just middle school nonsense, passing notes, writing love letters. I just brushed them off as jokes. Yet the person standing in front of me now was Lin Ji, the department beauty, the universally recognized campus belle. She actually liked me? I opened my mouth, completely at a loss for words. "You don't have to answer me right now," Lin Ji spoke again, her cheeks as red as a ripe apple. "You can think about it first. I just wanted to let you know." She left the letter on my book and quickly walked away. I sat right there, looking down at that pink letter, unable to snap out of it for a long time while surrounding students cast all sorts of glances. I heard someone whisper, "Isn't that Lin Ji?" She actually confessed proactively. And another said, "Who's that guy? He's so lucky." I hurriedly shoved the letter into my backpack and left the library with my head down. To be honest, my heart felt a bit chaotic. Not the nervous flutter of being confessed to, but a strange, indescribable feeling. It felt like something in my perception had gently wobbled, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was. The very first person I thought of was Ning Bing. I wanted to tell her I got confessed to, and by the department beauty, too. I took out my phone and messaged her. "Ning Bing, you there?" Reply in a second. "Yeah, what's up?" "Come out for a bit. I have something to tell you." "Why are you being so mysterious?" "You'll know when you come out." "Fine, same old place." The same old place was a milk tea shop on the street behind the school. Ever since high school, Ning Bing and I frequented it. The owner was a woman in her 40s who knew us well. Whenever she saw us, she'd smile and say, "You two are here again." When I arrived, Ning Bing was already sitting inside, wearing a white hoodie with her hair tied in a high ponytail, looking down at her phone. In front of her were 2 cups of tea, her pearl milk tea, and my lemonade. She always remembered I don't drink milk tea, only lemonade. "You're here?" She looked up at me. "What's the big rush?" I sat down, hesitated for a moment, and pulled that pink letter out of my bag, placing it on the table. Ning Bing's gaze fell on the letter, her fingers pausing. "What's this?" I said. "It's from that department beauty. She confessed to me at the library just now." Ning Bing didn't speak. She stared at the letter for a few seconds, then reached out, picked it up, flipped it over to look, and a curve formed at the corner of her mouth. "Well, Fang Yuan is moving up in the world." Her voice sounded normal, even carrying a hint of teasing. The department beauty even confessed proactively. "You've hit the jackpot. Stop making fun of me." I scratched my head. "My brain is a complete mess right now." "A mess of what?" Ning Bing put the letter back on the table. "If you like her, say yes. If you don't, refuse. What's there to be messy about?" I don't know either." I took a sip of lemonade. "She really is quite pretty, and she's gentle too." Midway through my sentence, I suddenly noticed Ning Bing had stopped talking. She lowered her head, unconsciously rubbing the rim of her milk teacup, her knuckles turning slightly white. "Ning Bing?" She looked up and smiled. "You go on." "Never mind, forget it." I put the letter away. "I haven't figured it out yet." "Oh." Then came a silence. Normally, whenever we were together, there was never an awkward silence. I could chat with her about games, basketball, or the cafeteria auntie giving skimpy portions again. She could chat with me about new anime series, school gossip, or which cafeteria had the best spicy hot pot. We never ran out of things to say, but today the atmosphere felt a bit different. "Fang Yuan," Ning Bing suddenly spoke up. She paused, "if you start dating, will we still be like this?" I was stunned. "Of course," I said. "We're good bros. Whether I date or not won't affect us being good bros." She repeated those 3 words, her voice very soft, so soft I almost didn't hear it. Then she stood up, picked up her milk tea, and said, "I'm heading back first. I have class." "What time is it now?" "You have class? An elective? An evening class?" She turned and walked away. I sat in my spot, watching her back disappear out the shop door. Was it just my imagination, or was her pace a bit faster than usual, and her shoulders a bit tense? I looked down at the cup of lemonade on the table, then at her unfinished pearl milk tea, and a vague, indescribable feeling surged in my chest. Strange. Way too strange. Ever since that day, everything became wrong. The first thing that felt wrong was that Ning Bing started avoiding me. In the past, we practically met every single day, eating together, going to the library together, and occasionally taking evening walks around the playground to chat. But starting from that day, she began turning me down with all sorts of excuses. "The cafeteria is too crowded today. I'll go by myself." "I have class in the afternoon. Go to the library by yourself." "I need to review tonight. Not going for a walk." Message after message, courteous and polite in a way that didn't sound like her at all. Previously, when she wanted to copy my homework, she was never this polite. She'd call me directly and start with, "Fang Yuan, did you finish your homework? Send it to me right now," not even throwing in a single please. But now even her tone when talking to me had changed. A part of me felt uncomfortable, but I couldn't quite pinpoint why. After thinking about it, I figured she might be stressed from recent exams or busy with club activities, so I didn't dwell on it too much. The second thing that felt wrong was that I began thinking of her constantly. During classes, I would find myself thinking of the way she sat next to me and copied notes, her handwriting crooked and sloppy, and every time she finished, she'd ask me, "How do you pronounce this word?" At mealtime, I'd remember how picky she was, refusing cilantro and bell peppers, always picking them out of her bowl one by one. At night, in bed, I'd remember the times we used to stargaze on the rooftop, her wrapped in my jacket, pointing at the Big Dipper and saying, "That's my constellation." The more I thought about it, the wronger it felt. Since when did I have such a deep impression of her? In the past, these things just happened and I never took them to heart, but now they played over and over in my head like a movie, impossible to drive away. The third strange thing, the one that made me completely realize something huge had happened, was about Lin Zhi. 3 days after the confession, Lin Zhi came looking for me again. This time, it wasn't in the library, but in the cafeteria. I was eating alone when she walked over with her tray and asked with a smile if the seat opposite me was taken. I instinctively wanted to say yes, because that spot was usually reserved for Ning Bin. But as the words reached my lips, I swallowed them back. Ning Bin hadn't eaten with me for 3 days. "Nobody's sitting there, go ahead." Lin Ji sat down and chatted with me, smiling all the while. She really spoke very pleasantly, with a soft voice and eyes that curved into crescent moons when she smiled. She asked if my major courses were difficult, what sports I liked, and if I had any plans for the weekend. I answered them one by one, but for some reason I had a strange, uneasy feeling in my heart, as if something was not quite right, though I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Just then, my phone rang. It was a message from Ning Bin. "Where are you?" I replied. "Cafeteria, alone." I looked up at Lin Ji across from me and typed 2 words. "No, wait." After the message went through, the other side fell silent for a long time. About 5 minutes later, another message came in. "With who?" "Lin Ji." A split-second reply. "Fang Yuan, get your ass out here." 3 words without even a punctuation mark. I stared at the screen, a sudden chill creeping up my spine. This was Ning Bin's angry tone. We had known each other for 18 years. I knew her too well. If she called me by my full name, Fang Yuan, it meant she was genuinely furious. I told Lin Zhi I was sorry and had something to take care of, grabbed my tray, and left. At the entrance of the cafeteria, Ning Bin was standing under a ginkgo tree. The ginkgo leaves were beginning to turn yellow, and a few drifted down to land on her shoulders. She was crossing her arms, her expression as cold as a winter wind. "Ning Bin?" She didn't speak. She just turned and walked away. I followed her all the way to a corner of the athletic field. It was very quiet here, almost deserted. The setting sun stretched her shadow long and thin. I stepped on her shadow, feeling more and more panicked inside. She stopped walking and spun around. "Fang Yuan." "Here. What were you and Lin Ji doing in the cafeteria?" "Eating. Just the 2 of you?" "Yeah." "Did you say yes to her?" "Say yes to what?" "Dating, of course." Her voice suddenly spiked, her eyes wide and the rims slightly red. I was stunned. "No way," I quickly explained. "I didn't say yes. I was just having a meal with her." "If you didn't say yes, why are you eating with her?" "She came over. I couldn't exactly chase her away, could I?" "Couldn't you?" As soon as she finished shouting, the rims of her eyes suddenly turned red, and tears started falling. I completely froze. From childhood to now, I had seen Ning Bin cry 3 times. Once in the 3rd grade when she broke her arm, once when her grandmother passed away, and once on the day the college entrance exam scores came out because she thought she hadn't done well. But those tears had always been quiet, nothing like this. This time she was crying like a deeply wronged little child, tears dropping one by one that even tissues couldn't stop. "Ning Bin, don't cry!" I panicked, truly panicked. I frantically rummaged through my pockets for tissues, and after searching for half a day, pulled out a crumpled up piece of toilet paper and handed it to her. She didn't take it, using the back of her hand to wipe her tears instead, but the more she wiped, the more came. "Fang Yuan." Her voice carried a sob, halting and intermittent. "You are not allowed to say yes to her." "Why?" "I said not allowed, so you're not allowed." "You have to give me a reason." She looked at me with red eyes, the tip of her nose also red, traces of tears still lingering on her face. She stared at me, her lips moving as if she wanted to say something, but in the end, nothing came out. "Ning Bin," I softly said, "what on earth is wrong with you?" She sniffled, her voice muffled. "Fang Yuan, are you stupid?" Me? Can't you really tell? Tell what? She fell silent for a long time. The last streak of sunset light hovered on the horizon, dyeing the entire sky an orange-red. She raised her head in this orange-red light, looking at me with a gaze I had never seen in her eyes before. Fang Yuan, she said, every single word distinct. I've liked you since I was a kid. The wind stopped, the distant sound of the basketball court vanished, and the whole world seemed to quiet down. I knelt before her, my mind completely blank. What did you say? I said, I've liked you since I was a little kid. Her voice was shaking, but every single word was crystal clear. Liked you since kindergarten, liked you since elementary school, liked you since middle school, liked you since high school. I've liked you for 18 years, did you even know? She took a breath and went on, tears starting to fall again. I never dared to tell you because I was afraid if I told you, you wouldn't want me as your friend anymore. So I kept pretending, acting just like you, treating you like a brother, like a good buddy, acting all chummy with you. But Fang Yuan, I can't pretend anymore. The day you told me Lin Ji confessed to you, do you have any idea how miserable I felt? I cried the whole night through because of it. I was scared you'd say yes to her, scared you'd be with her, scared you wouldn't talk to me anymore. Fang Yuan, I don't want to be your friend anymore, not at all. I want to be with you. I want to be the first person you see when you wake up every morning and the last person you talk to before you go to sleep every night. I want to warm your hands in the winter and fan you in the summer. I want to go to the movies with you, go to amusement parks, go everywhere I want to go. I want to hold your hand, have you wear my jacket, and have you introduce me to others as your girlfriend. I don't want to be your friend anymore. When she finished speaking, tears were already streaming down her face. I stared blankly at her, unable to utter a single word. Inside, it felt as though something had been heavily smashed to pieces. It was the wall I had built myself, the wall I used to tell myself we were strictly friends. Every single word she said was like a stone, dropping one by one into the lake of my heart, stirring up ripple after ripple. I thought of so many, many things. I thought of kindergarten when she split her candy in half and told me, Fang Yuan, you have to treat me well from now on. I thought of elementary school when I was bullied by boys in class and she rushed forward to push that boy down, ending up taking a fall herself, scraping her skin and skinning her knee, yet looking up at me to say, it doesn't hurt. I thought of middle school when I scored near the bottom of the class for the first time and she stayed up late tutoring me, her eyes so heavy with sleep she could barely keep them open, yet still forcing herself to say, Fang Yuan, you're not allowed to give up. I thought of high school when she went on stage to sing at the school arts festival and I sat in the audience, watching her stand in a white dress under the spotlight. Wait, no, a white shirt. My heart skipping a beat. Back then, I told myself it was just because the lights were too dazzling. I thought of the times we sat on the rooftop, her falling asleep against my shoulder, her breathing steady and soft. I lowered my head to look at her profile, and a sudden thought popped into my head. I want it to stay like this forever. That thought appeared for only a single second before I forcefully shoved it down, telling myself not to have crazy ideas, that she was a friend. She was a friend. She was a friend. I repeated those 3 words 10,000 times, as if repeating them enough would make them real. But she wasn't real. Never had been. Bai Ning bin, I heard my own voice, hoarse beyond recognition. Why didn't you say so earlier? She was stunned for a moment and then cried even harder. I was scared, she sobbed. I was scared you'd hate me, scared you wouldn't talk to me, scared, I was so scared, my heart ached. I reached out, hesitated for a moment, and then gently pulled her into my arms. Her body stiffened for a split second before her entire weight leaned into me, burying her face in my chest, trembling as she cried. Her tears soaked my clothes, warm and real, just like her. Fang Yuan, you are not allowed to say yes to Lin Ji, her muffled voice came from my chest. I won't. You are not allowed to date anyone else. I won't date anyone else. You have to treat me well. I'll always treat you well. You're not allowed to treat me like a friend anymore. I lowered my head to look at her fluffy crown, catching the familiar scent of laundry detergent lingering on her. 18 years. I had smelled this scent for 18 years, yet never once had I thought she smelled this wonderful. Bai Ning bin. I don't want to be your friend anymore either. She lifted her head from my arms, looking up at me with red eyes, tear tracks still on her face, her nose flushed. She looked a complete mess, but I thought she looked breathtakingly gorgeous, more stunning than at any other moment. Really? Her voice was tiny, carrying a trace of uncertainty. Really, I'm not lying to you. Not lying to me? She stared at me for a long time, so long that I started getting nervous again. Then, she suddenly smiled, laughing and crying all at once, mixing tears and smiles into a chaotic mess. Fang Yuan, you're done for, she laughed through her tears. You're my boyfriend now. If you dare go back on your word, I'll tell your mom. No, 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 I hurriedly said. My mom will beat me to death. She broke into a watery smile and reached out to punch me in the chest. The force light as a tickle. Idiot. Yeah, I'm an idiot. A big idiot. A big idiot who took 18 years to realize I like you. You're the biggest idiot in the world. Yeah, I'm the biggest idiot in the world. She finally stopped crying, leaning against my arms as she quietly watched the last trace of the evening glow on the horizon. I rested my chin on the top of her head and closed my eyes. A whistle drifted over from the athletic field, and a few running guys shouted out to tease us, "Ooh, they made it, congrats!" Ningbin buried her head even deeper, the tips of her ears red enough to bleed. Holding her, I suddenly felt that the stupidest thing I had ever done in my life was taking 18 years to reach this point, but it was also the absolute rightest thing I'd ever done. That night, I walked Ningbin back to her dormitory. Walking down the campus tree-lined path, the streetlight stretched our shadows long and short. Her shoulder was only a fist's distance away from mine. In the past, whenever we walked, it was always at this distance, and I had never thought anything of it. But tonight, I felt that this fist's distance was way too far. I quietly reached out and brushed the back of her hand. She flinched a little, then didn't pull away. I gripped her hand. Her hand was small and cool, probably still trembling slightly from crying just now. My palm enveloped her, and I could feel the outline of every single finger. She didn't speak, keeping her head down with red ears. I didn't speak either, but my heart was beating fast. After walking for a long time, we reached the bottom of her dormitory building. She stopped, turned around to look at me, the streetlight's glow falling on her face and making her eyes shine brightly. Fang Yuan. Today. Counts, right? Of course it counts. You won't forget when you wake up tomorrow, will you? I couldn't help laughing. I don't have a 7-second memory. She smiled too, and then suddenly stood on tiptoe. Like a falling petal landing on water, and then she spun around and ran, bolting straight into the dorm building without looking back. I stood frozen in place, raising a hand to touch the spot where I'd been kissed, dazed for a very long time. The warmth of her lips seemed to still linger on my cheek. Standing under the streetlight, watching her figure disappear into the stairwell, a wave of unprecedented warmth welled up in my heart, like drinking a huge mug of hot cocoa in the winter, warming me all the way from my throat to my stomach. I pulled out my phone and sent her a message. "Good night, Bai Ning. A few seconds later, she replied, "Good night, idiot." Then another text came through. Wait, no. I should say good night, boyfriend. I stared at the word boyfriend on the screen, the corners of my mouth curling up uncontrollably. My roommate said that when I got back to the dorm that night, the smile on my face looked like an absolute fool's, completely unstoppable. Fang Yuan, did you win the lottery? No. Then what are you smiling at? Nothing. There's no way nothing makes you smile like that. I didn't answer. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, I replayed everything that happened today in my mind over and over. She said she had liked me since she was a kid. She said she had liked me for 18 years. 18 years, from kindergarten to now. I chewed on those words in my mind repeatedly, every single chew making my chest feel a little warmer. I thought back to kindergarten when she wore a pink dress with 2 little braids, sat next to me on the very first day of school, and said in a little milky voice, "Hi, my name is Bai Ning. Back then, I had no clue what liking someone meant. I just thought this little girl was pretty cute, so I shared half my crackers with her. Thinking about it now, that was probably the first time in my life I treated a girl nicely, and that niceness just kept going for 18 years. Suddenly, a specific detail popped into my mind. In middle school, I once ran a fever and had to take a leave of absence, staying home and burning up in a hazy blur all day long. Near dusk, I heard the doorbell ring. My mom went to open the door, and then Ningbin's voice drifted in from the living room. "Auntie, I brought notes and homework for Fang Yuan." "Ningbin, you're such a good kid. Come on in." Then she sat by my bed, placed the notes on the nightstand, and used the back of his hand to check my forehead. It was scorching hot. She hurried to the bathroom, wrung out a cool towel, laid it across my forehead, pulled a chair up beside the bed, opened the notebook, and explained today's class material page by page. Running a fever, I was completely out of it and didn't actually process a single word, but I remembered her voice being soft, like summer ice cream. Later, I fell asleep, and when I woke up, it was already dark. She was still sitting there, slumped over the bedside asleep. My mom said she had sat by the bed for hours and refused to leave when called. I hadn't thought much of it at the time, but thinking back now, my heart felt like it was being heavily tugged by something. And in high school, during a monthly exam when I tanked my math grade and failed, I was in an awful mood and sitting alone in the athletic field zoning out. She somehow rushed over from God knows where with 2 bottles of soda, sat down next to me, and handed one over. Here. She cracked open the other bottle and took a gulp. Fang Yuan, do you think you're useless? I didn't speak. Well, I'm telling you, you're not allowed to think like that. She turned to look at me, dead serious. You're the most amazing person I know. You can fix anything. You can play basketball. You can solve super-duper hard math problems. You just didn't do well this time. You'll definitely ace it next time. She paused, then added, even if you really don't do well, it doesn't matter. I'll support you. I laughed back then, finding what she said hilarious. A little girl saying something like, I'll support you. But thinking about it now, every single word she said must have been completely sincere. From middle school to high school, from high school to university, every little thing and every single moment hid her affection. I was just too dense to ever see it, or rather, I didn't dare to see it. I closed my eyes and told myself in my heart, Fang Yuan, you better treat Bai Ning exceptionally well from now on, or you really won't deserve the 18 years she spent liking you. The next day, I made plans to meet Lin Zhi. It was still in the library, still in the afternoon, still at that window-side seat. When she arrived, she wore a floral dress, her hair worn down, a faint look of anticipation on her face. Fang Yuan, you wanted to see me? I stood up and handed back the fan letter she had given me. Lin Zhi, I'm sorry. Her expression froze for a second before she slowly took the letter. Is this a rejection? She asked softly. Yeah. Can you tell me why? I thought about it. Because I have someone I like. She fell silent for a few seconds, then smiled, a somewhat forced smile, but still pretty. Is it that girl who's always with you? What's her name? Bai Ning? Yeah. I knew it. She put the letter away and sighed. Actually, that day in the cafeteria, I could already tell. The way you look at her is completely different from how you look at anyone else. Really? Yeah. She nodded earnestly. You didn't even realize it, but your eyes were full of light whenever you looked at that girl. I froze. Fang Yuan, I wish you two the best. Lin Zhi smiled and held out her hand. She's a great person. You treat her well. I shook her hand. Thank you. You're welcome, but you have to buy me milk tea to compensate my wounded little heart. No problem. Yeah, it's really good. After saying goodbye to Lin Zhi, I sent Ningbin a message. Where are you? Dorm. What are you doing? Come down, I'm at your building. About 3 minutes later, she ran down wearing an oversized t-shirt and shorts, her hair a mess, her face bare, and flip-flops on her feet. She ran up to me, panting. What's wrong? Did something happen? I didn't speak, just looked at her. She grew a bit embarrassed under my stare, raising a hand to touch her face. Is there something on my face? No. Then why are you looking at me like that? Ning Bin. I went to see Lin Zhi just now. Her expression changed visibly, from confusion to tension to a touch of grievance. She pursed her lips and her eyes began to dart away. Oh, she said, her voice muffled. So, you two... I returned the letter to her. She looked up, her eyes brightening. Really? Really? And she wished us well. Ningbin froze. Then the corners of her mouth began to curl upward, higher and higher, until finally her whole face lit up. But she immediately pulled her smile back, putting on a straight face. Then why did you come find me? Just to tell me that? No. I took a step forward, very close to her. She instinctively stepped back, her back hitting the wall of the dorm building. She looked up at me with wide eyes. Fang Yuan, what are you doing? Bai Ningbin. Be my girlfriend. Her breath hitched. Didn't you already say that yesterday? Yesterday was you talking, I said. You said you liked me. You said you didn't want me to say yes to anyone else, but there was one thing you didn't say. What? You didn't ask if I was willing to be your boyfriend. Her face turned completely red. Fang Yuan, you... So I came here today to fill that in. Bai Ning, I like you. I want to be your boyfriend, will you? She bit her lip, her eyes turning red again. What is wrong with you? Her voice trembled. You made me cry like that yesterday, and today you... So, are you willing? Let me think about it. Don't think about it. I reached out and pulled her into my arms, resting my chin on top of her head, gently saying, Isn't 18 years enough for you to think? She stayed quiet in my arms for a moment, then reached out to wrap her arms around my waist. Fang Yuan. I'm willing. The sunset spilled over us, warm and glowing. At that moment, I felt the whole world turn gentle. Later, she told me that when she ran back to the dorm that day, her roommates were terrified. They said she was crying so hard they thought she'd been dumped. When she told them it was the opposite, that she was now in a relationship, they were baffled. You're dating. Why are you crying? She said, Because I've waited too long. When they asked how long, she replied, 18 years. The whole room went quiet for 3 seconds before it exploded. Holy crap, Bai Ning, you've been hiding this well? 18 years? Have you liked him since you were in the womb? And that guy Fang Yuan actually let you wait 18 years? She laughed and tears fell again. That night we sat on the bleachers by the athletic field. The autumn night breeze was a bit chilly. She leaned on my shoulder, holding my hand tightly. Fang Yuan. Do you know when I started liking you? Kindergarten? No. Then when? She was silent for a while, then whispered softly, 2nd grade of elementary school. 2nd grade? Her voice was faint, as if she were sharing a secret she had cherished for a very long time. It was raining when school let out, and I didn't have an umbrella. I was standing at the school gate alone, waiting for the rain to stop. Then you ran over and shoved your umbrella into my hand, saying, You use it, my house is close, I can just run back. I was stunned. I had no memory of that at all. And then? Then you really did run. I carried your umbrella home, and on the way I saw you running in the rain. Your backpack was soaked, your hair was wet, you looked like a drowned rat. Her voice choked up a bit. Fang Yuan, do you know? I've remembered the back of you running away that day for 10 years. I didn't say anything, my chest feeling tight as if something was lodged in my throat. Every time it rained after that, I would think of you, she continued. I'd think of you running in the rain, remember how pretty you looked when you smiled as you gave me the umbrella, and think of you saying your house was close when yours was actually further than mine. From that day on, I knew. Fang Yuan, I like you. So, after that, I always wanted to stick to you, always wanted to walk to and from school with you, always wanted to borrow your homework to copy, always wanted to make you angry just to see you look helpless. It wasn't because I was bored, it was because I liked you. I wanted to spend more time with you. I never treated you like a brother. Never. Not once. I turned my head to look at her profile. There were tears in her eyes, but a smile on her lips. Ningbin. From now on, when it rains, I'll walk with you under an umbrella. I won't let you be alone anymore. Her tears fell, landing on the back of my hand, warm. You promised. Don't go back on it. No going back. She wiped her tears hard, then leaned back onto my shoulder and let out a long breath. Fang Yuan. I finally waited for you. I lowered my head and left a kiss on her forehead. I'm sorry for making you wait so long. She didn't answer, just gripped my hand tighter. Someone on the athletic field was playing music, drifting over from afar. It was Jay Cho's Simple Love. I want to hold your hand like this and never let go. Can love be simple forever, without sorrow? She hummed along softly, her voice a little off-key, but to me, she was the best singer in the world. I closed my eyes, feeling the warmth of her palm. 18 years. We went from kindergarten to college, from school uniforms to everyday clothes, from childhood sweethearts to finally holding hands. In these 18 years, she had always been by my side. The one who helped me with my notes was her. The one who stayed up late with me was her. The one who said, I'll support you when I was at my lowest was her. And the one who gave me her umbrella and ran in the rain was her. It was always her. And it took me 18 years to realize I couldn't live without her. Ningbin. Thank you for always being by my side. She lifted her head, looking at me with red eyes, then smiled. Idiot. Yeah, I'm an idiot, the biggest idiot in the world. True, but... She stood on tiptoe and touched her lips to mine. You're my favorite idiot. 5 years later, the wedding was held at a hotel in our hometown. It wasn't big. We only invited our 2 families and our closest friends. My mom and Aunt Bai sat in the first row, both of them crying from start to finish. My dad and my father-in-law were quite calm, just drinking away, but as they drank, their eyes also started to turn red. My aunt asked about Ningbin and my love story. I said, "We've known each other for 23 years since kindergarten." The whole room gasped. My aunt asked again, "Then when did you start dating?" I thought for a moment and said, "She liked me since she was in 2nd grade." Another gasp from the crowd. Ningbin pinched my hand at the head table and said through gritted teeth, "Fang Yuan, can you stop talking?" I smiled and held her hand. Was I wrong? She blushed, looked down, and stayed silent. My aunt asked, "Then when did the groom start liking the bride?" I was silent for a moment. "I don't know," I said. "Maybe a long, long time ago, so early that even I didn't realize it. Maybe it was when she shared half her cookies with me in kindergarten. Maybe when she helped me teach that boy who bullied me a lesson in elementary school. Maybe when she stayed up late helping me study in middle school. Maybe when she fell asleep on my shoulder in high school. Or maybe every time she called me an idiot. Every time she made me angry and then secretly bought me milk tea to apologize. Or every time she ran toward me with an umbrella on a rainy day. I don't know which day it started, but I know she has never been absent from my life." The room was quiet for a second before erupting into applause and cheers. Ningbin looked at me, her eyes red and her lips trembling slightly. "Fang Yuan," her voice was a bit hoarse. "When did you become so good with words?" "Learned it after I got together with you." She smiled, tears sliding down the corners of her eyes. I reached out to wipe them away. Then, under everyone's gaze, I leaned down and kissed her. Bai Ning. I love you, from before until now and forever." She stood on tiptoe, hugging my neck. "I love you too, from before until now and forever." Cheers and whistles erupted from the audience. My mom and Aunt Bai hugged and sobbed together, and my dad and father-in-law patted each other on the shoulder, their eyes also red. At that moment, I felt like the happiest person in the world. Life after marriage was simple and sweet. Every morning when I woke up, the first thing I saw was her face. Hair a mess, drool at the corner of her mouth, completely lacking an image. But I could never tire of looking at her. She would hug me from behind while I made breakfast, pressing her face against my back and saying in a daze, "Smells so good." She would send messages when I worked overtime, attaching a selfie with the text, "Miss you." She would video call me every day when I was on business trips, chattering about what she ate and who she saw that day, what shows she watched, and would only hang up reluctantly after finishing. We still argued. The reasons were always bizarre. She'd complain about my socks being tossed around. I'd complain about her cosmetics scattered everywhere. She'd say I ignored her to play games. I'd say she stayed up until midnight binge-watching shows. But we never let an argument last overnight, because after every fight, one of us would eventually swallow our pride. Sometimes it was me, sometimes her. The one who gave in would walk up to the other and say, "I'm sorry." And the other's anger would instantly vanish, reaching out to hug the person while saying, "Me too." Sometimes we'd start laughing right in the middle of a fight. "Fang Yuan, you're really annoying." I am." "Can you not admit it so quickly every time? I'm not done scolding you yet." "Then keep scolding." "Forget it. I don't want to anymore." "Then let me give you a hug." And then she would burrow into my arms like a spoiled kitten, burying her face in my chest, taking a deep breath. "Fang Yuan." "Even though you're annoying, I still like you so much." "I like you so much too." "What part of me do you like?" "Everything." "What does everything mean?" "Your hair, eyebrows, eyes, nose, mouth, ears, neck, shoulders, hands, feet, every single part." She'd punch me with a reddening face. "You're saying these things again?" "You asked me. Then I won't ask any more. But I still want to say it." "Then go ahead." I would hold her and say it to her, word by word. I'd tell her how beautiful her eyes were, curving like crescent moons when she smiled. How pleasant her voice was, sounding warmest when she called my name. How adorable she was even when angry, her lips pouting like a little pufferfish. How warm her fingers were when she gave me those band-aids when I was little, and how I had remembered the sight of her giving me her umbrella in the rain for so many years. She would listen until her eyes turned red. Fang Yuan, you are not allowed to make me cry anymore. Okay? You promise? I promise. You always promise so quickly. I can't tell if you're sincere or just humoring me. I leaned down and gently kissed her lips. Bai Ning, every word I say to you is sincere. From the day you gave me your umbrella in 2nd grade until now, and into the future. All of it. She stared at me blankly, then let out a wail and burst into tears. Why are you like this? She said, hitting me as she cried. You clearly didn't remember before. How do you suddenly remember now? Because the night you told me, I thought about it all night. Thought about what? Thinking about how you ran home in the rain, about you handing me the umbrella, wondering if you were cold, if you caught a cold, if you were miserable. The more I thought about it, the more my heart ached. Fang Yuan. Thank you for remembering. It should be me thanking you. Thanking me for what? Thanking you for liking me, thanking you for waiting for me, thanking you for always being there. She cried even harder, soaking a large part of my shirt with her tears. I held her, gently patting her back like I was coaxing a child. Don't cry anymore. Don't cry. It's all your fault. Yes, it's all my fault. You have to treat me exceptionally well from now on. You must never make me angry. You just like watching me get angry. What do you mean, watching you get angry? Because you think I'm cute when I'm angry and you can't resist teasing me, Fang Yuan. Okay, I won't. She buried her face in my chest and said in a muffled voice, Forget it. It's okay if you make me angry. Why? Because I know no matter how angry I get, you'll never leave me. I tightened my arms, holding her even closer. That's right, I said. Never. Another year of autumn arrived, and the ginkgo leaves turned yellow again, drifting down onto the tree-lined campus path. Ningbin and I were holding hands on our way to visit our alma mater. Today was our wedding anniversary, and she said she wanted to see the school. We walked to the ginkgo tree by the edge of the athletic field, and she stopped. Do you still remember this place? I remember, I said. You were crying your eyes out right here. You were the one crying your eyes out. I didn't cry, you were the one crying. You clearly cried too. I saw your eyes were red. Fine, maybe just a little. She laughed, stood on tiptoe, and kissed the corner of my mouth. Fang Yuan. Thank you for not rejecting me that day. I gripped her hand, our fingers interlaced. It should be me thanking you. Thanking me for what? Thanking you for stopping me that day. Thanking you for telling me you liked me. Thanking you for letting me realize that I had already liked you for so long. Her eyes were bright, like the autumn sun reflecting on a lake. Fang Yuan. Let's go home. Okay. We walked holding hands along the small path covered in ginkgo leaves. Her shadow leaned against mine like two little figures pressed together. The wind blew from afar, carrying the scent of autumn. I remembered many years ago when she sat next to me, handed over half a biscuit, and said in a milky, childish voice, Hi, my name is Bai Ning. Back then, I didn't know this little girl would accompany me through my entire childhood, my entire youth, and then walk into the rest of my life. But I feel fortunate that after 23 years of twists and turns, the person standing beside me is still her. Ningbin. I love you. She paused for a moment, then smiled, a smile warmer than the autumn sun. I know, she said. I love you too. We held hands and walked toward the long, sun-drenched path ahead, toward our future. The end.